Okay, in today's video I will show you how to take rose cutting, and this one is Queen of Sweden. As you can see here, got 4 rose cutting here of Queen of Sweden, and I'll show you after. Just wanted to mention as well, this method is 100% working every time, and it's nice, very easy one to copy. Okay, we're gonna start with everything you need to take the cutting for a rose. As you can see here, we've got plenty of pots. We need a pair of gloves, obviously better quality gloves, especially for roses. We'll need 1 pair of them, very sharp one as well, because you can use one which has been used and really bad one, because you can hurt the plant and obviously make your cutting really bad and hurt them really, rather than take the cutting of healthy cutting. You can hurt the plant and your cutting, which will be useless. So make sure they are really sharp. I'm gonna be using a measurement tape only because I'm gonna measure them for you. Obviously you don't need one. We'll need also some pots. Those pots are from David Olsen. I've got different variety of roses in my garden, and this one is my favorite. Very light pink, very delicate, really nice, highly recommended. I've got different types, different variety of roses, and we've got some normal roses, we've got some climbers. This one's a climber rose, and a different color, red one. This one is a bit light pink, white one, and we've got some light pink as well. So we need to know what cutting we've got in which pot. So before you start, you need to make sure you've got something to tell you which rose is in which pot. This is really important. A lot of people forget about it, and on the next day you won't remember already. Next really important thing is actual pot. I'm gonna be reusing those pots which obviously professional used for their cuttings. So I'm gonna use those. They're just normal plastic one, but they do have lots of holes. As you can see in here, there's rather loads of holes, and they're quite big as well, which is important because you need to make sure, especially with the roses, that you're gonna get rid of that water. It's not gonna stand in a pot and, you know, get your plant rotted. So it's very important, probably more than you think or you know. So make sure any pot you get, just normal standard plastic pot, but lots of holes for the water to get out. So the pot looks like this, nothing special. We've got a few of them. We're gonna cleanly mark them, so we're gonna reuse them and get cutting from different type of roses. Doesn't matter what type of rose it is, so if it's normal rose or a climber, the cutting will be exactly the same, taken exactly the same way. So we're gonna make different variety, and those cuttings are only for my use, not for sale obviously. In terms of water, we're gonna be using just normal water, but I do recommend to use not the water from the tap, but use the water, rainwater, much better for your plants. So probably the best is to leave one of those cans outside, and once it's filled up you can water your plants, your cutting. Then we'll need 3 things, really important one for your cuttings. We'll need soil, of course. I use and trust Westland. As you will notice, I've got everything from Westland, and even that one. So we'll need soil. This one is the best soil for plants. So this one is the one I will be using for my rose cutting. Then we'll need some perlite. Never use that, so I don't know exactly how to say it, but you've got a name in here. We're going to be using some of that. I'm going to give you proportion once we get to it. And we'll need some sand. We're using, of course, from the same company, we're using horticultural sand, so this is important for a plant, not normal regular sand or clay sand. So we need that as well. The last thing is we're gonna be using something for roots. So we're gonna be using rooting gel, but not for all the cuttings. Rooting gel, you can buy a rooting gel or rooting powder, and this one is of course as well from Westland. It's just trusted brand I trust, so I use this one the most. And then I'm gonna be taking the cutting from 2 different roses. I mean, this one will be the same, as you can see here. This one is the same rose. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the cutting of the same rose in different pots, and one of them I will be using a rooting gel and the other one will be without. Is the rooting gel or powder necessary? Not really, but to compare, and so you can see for yourself, we're gonna do a little experiment here. In March they will be fully rooted cuttings, and about around April time we're gonna put them in permanent place where we want them. So you will see the rooting between them two. I'm gonna mark clearly which one gonna have a rooting gel and which one won't. So probably in here I'm gonna put a rooting gel and make sure this one is clearly marked, so you can compare them both. Okay, now important part, how to take the cutting and which part you should be using. Make sure you don't use very soft brand new sprouts of a rose. So this one in here you can see, especially with those red-ish leaves, this is a brand new rose growing, so you don't want to be using, it's quite soft as well, so don't be using something like this, never ever, or with a flower on top. Those are brand new, so don't use those ever. Choose something solid, something quite steady and established. So in here we've got quite good one, so this will be a perfect one. So we want to cut it something like, we're starting with here, so 1, 2, can you see, 1, 2, so we want length of around 10-15 centimeters, and we're going to be cutting it, we're starting here underneath one of those, so underneath there, 1, 2, and on top in here 10-15 centimeters. I will show you in a second, but that's what we're going to be cutting. 10-15 centimeters. Establish hard rose, not brand new one with those leaves. Okay, last thing you need to know before you do them is, wherever you're making a cutting from the rose or taking the cutting from the rose, the best time to take the cutting is early in the morning when your plant got lots of life in it. So do it early in the morning, especially in summer. You don't want to be taking the cutting and then leave it on the side. Even 1 hour will kill your cutting, so it has to be done and straight away sorted out and put in the ground in soil, prepared soil. My cat is crazy. Okay, now I'm gonna show you how to take the cutting. This one is a cutting from climber rose, so it's a bit longer than usual you will get, but it will be perfect to show you how to take the cutting, because you could take the cutting exactly the same from any type of rose. So you want to cut your rose straight in here on the bottom, and then you're gonna take the cutting just before the first leaves there, which goes there on the side. So you're gonna cut it in here straight, and you're gonna go up, and the second one you've got, you're gonna cut it above. So you're gonna cut it, but you have to cut it on the sideways there in here, just to make sure that the water is not holding the water in here on the top of your rose. So I will show you in a second how it has to look like, but you can take a few cuttings from this one, of course. This is how a perfect cutting looks like, and I'll explain you exactly how a bit better now. So this is a perfect cutting. It's about 17 centimeters long, and it's as thick as probably a pencil. As you can see, this is a very healthy cutting. We'll be getting rid of leaves, but about this in a second. So first you want to cut just when the first one going on the side like this over leaves, you want to cut it just before, straight. So this going to the ground, and you want it straight. Then we're gonna go up, and then when the next one starts, so we've got first leaves in here and then second, you're gonna cut it above it, just above it, and it has to go that way, sideways. Why? I will show you closer. This is how it looks like. It's not straight, it goes this way, just because when it's gonna rain, especially in England, I live in England, we've got lots of rain, and you don't water to be going to the plant and sitting on it. If it's gonna go sideways, it's gonna basically go from it. So that's why you want to cut it that way. You need to make sure that you use, of course, a sharp pair of those, otherwise you can hurt the plant and you can hurt the cutting, and you don't want to do that. Next thing we need to do with it, we need to cut and get rid of all the leaves. So we're gonna get rid of them all the leaves. We don't need leaves. Why we don't need the leaves? It's only it's not doing anything for your plants. It's gonna make your plant heavy, your cutting very heavy. It's not aiding anything to it. The leaves doesn't do anything to it. Most likely they're gonna go brown and they're gonna go dry and they're gonna die anyway. So you don't want anything to attack your leaves and then your plant, your cutting. So just get rid of the leaves. You do not need them. So that's the first rule. So in some videos people showing to keep them, you do not need also them. Just to mention, we're gonna get rid of the leaves of course, but once you're gonna put your cutting into soil, around March time it will have nice roots. It will develop good rooting system, and at that time, probably April time, we will be able to ready to put your cutting into the ground in your permanent position where you want it. And you will see that the roots are healthy and the plant is healthy because the new leaves gonna start coming out of your cutting. So that will be a good sign to see if your cutting is ready and healthy. So this is a perfect cutting. As I told you before, you have to have this straight, this going straight to the ground. You know which way it's going up. This one going up. When it's raining, you're getting rid of that rain. So that's your perfect cutting here. There is 3 golden rules to follow if you want your cutting to work 100% each time, and I will share them with you in a minute. Okay, one of the golden rules is you do want to have lots of holes in your pot. It's just a plastic pot, but this part is a golden rule. Especially for roses, you need to have good water flowing. So you don't want water to stand in your roses, and you know, your roses can get rotten, so you don't want that to happen. You need to make sure you do have lots of holes and big ones as well. So first golden rule, perfect cutting. We know what kind of pot we need, and we of course need a tag. What is it for? Now we're moving to soil. So we'll need, of course, we'll need soil. We'll need 3 portions of soil, 1 portion of perlite, and 1 portion of sand. And this is special sand, as I said. It's not normal sand. This is sand for planting. 1 portion, 1 portion, and 3 portions. We're gonna mix them, and our mixture gonna go straight in here. Okay, 3 parts of soil. I'm gonna put them in here and mix it in here. We've got 3 parts of soil in here, 1 part of perlite, and now 1 part of sand. Definitely I will need some gloves for the sand, and of course to mix it up. And now I have to mix everything well. This is a perfectly prepared soil combination for cutting, rose cutting. Now we just need to fill our pots all the way. Teraz musimy wypełnić nasze donice ziemią do samej góry, dotąd. Our pots we're gonna fill in all the way up to here. Okay, now I'm gonna show you the cutting, rose cutting with the rooting gel. And of course I marked it in here that this one got rooting gel. So we're gonna use exactly the same rose for both of them. So this one is gonna be with a rooting gel, and the steps are exactly the same without the rooting gel, of course. So the only thing to be aware of is, and you can use it, you can see it yourself. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. You're gonna see it for yourself if it's worth buying a rooting gel or not. You can see that rooting system later on in my next video. So we're gonna be using this now. What you have to do is make sure that you open it and put the rooting gel separate in container. Do not ever use your cutting and put it directly into rooting gel, because if the your cutting you've got some kind of disease or whatever, and you're putting in here, you're spreading around whole gel, and anything you're going to put in it will get that disease as well. So not worth it. Put a little bit of gel on the side, what you use, dip it in the gel, and then what you have to do, you need a kind of stick. You're gonna make a hole for your cutting, and then you're gonna put your cutting straight in like this. If you're not gonna make a hole, then your cutting gonna go in and the gel probably gonna go on the side before it's gonna get deep, so you don't want to do that. You want to avoid that, to losing that. Okay, we've got a few of pots ready with soil, so I would recommend to do them first. Make sure you clearly label them, and now we're gonna go to our cuttings. If you're making more cuttings than 1-2, you need to make sure you've got a little pot with the water and put your cutting straight to the water. Even if you do like few, and if you're gonna keep your cutting outside while you're taking other cuttings for 1 hour, it will die and it's not suitable to make cuttings anymore. It will be not good enough. So make sure you put it in the water while you're waiting, because time is precious in here, especially when you're making cuttings. Right, when we're using growing rooting gel, we need to make sure we put it separated in a pot, because if you're gonna put your cutting and put straight to the rooting gel inside and outside, if you've got any disease on your rose by any chance which you haven't noticed, it will spread in all over the rooting gel, and of course you're gonna use more cuttings, even healthy one, you're gonna put in, and they're all gonna mix up and pick it up. So you don't want that. Don't make that mistake. Make sure you don't you're not lazy. Put it separate. It's only gonna take you a minute. So what we do is basically we're giving them a little bath in a rooting gel. You're cutting it a little bath, and then can you see we've got the rooting gel in here. What we're gonna do, if you're using a rooting gel only, we're gonna make a hole in your soil like this, all the way down. So we're only doing this so we're not gonna lose that gel on the way to get to the bottom. So we've got the rooting gel, we're gonna throw it in now, all the way down, so we're not losing any rooting gel on the way. And now make sure it's firm on the top, and that's done. If you're not using a rooting gel, you're just basically doing it without this step and just putting your cutting straight in like this without making a hole. Just push it in and it's done. And now we can move to last step. So we've got a cutting in a pot with perfect soil. We've got around 4 cutting in here because I don't need any more, so I put 4 in here, and we're gonna water our cutting well with rainwater. Ideally you want to use rainwater instead of the water from the tap. It's much better, so leave one of those watering can outside. It will fill up nicely for you, especially if you live in UK. We're gonna water it well, and then we're gonna leave it in a shaded area where we're gonna leave it there. We don't want to put it with any access to the sun, so it has to be shaded area. And we're gonna check on them probably in March, where I'm gonna show you the results. So make sure you subscribe and see the results for our roses with the rooting gel and one without rooting gel. Those rose cutting will soak up that water. It will come out, so don't worry that there's a little bit on top. And the last thing is position where we're putting our roses. So we have left those cuttings in here. They're going to be outside up until April, where we're going to actually put them permanently in permanent place for them. So they're going to be outside all this time, and we're just going to be watering with the can. We're going to leave the watering can in here, just rainwater get in, and we're going to be using only rainwater to water them, of course. I made like a 4-3 in each one, as you can see in here. So we're going to have beautiful roses. Some of them are with rooting gel, some of them are not, and this is the same rose basically. So the results we're going to see about March time. You can see how well the rooting system has developed. And of course in April we're gonna put them permanently in the permanent place where you want them. So we've got lovely roses here, and that will be everything in this video. Good luck with yours, and I will see you. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in around March, April time. We're gonna get them out, those beauties. So see you in my next video.